The water level in Lake Mead hit record lows, pushing the largest man-made reservoir in the U.S. 895 feet away from a dead pool. A dead pool is a state where the water level in a reservoir drops to the point where it can't be released via the dam. This month saw the lowest recorded level of water in Lake Mead since the lake was created in the 30s. It's decreased in size due to climate change and growing water consumption throughout the southwestern part of the U.S. over the past 2 decades. While it would take a dip of 895 feet for the lake to become a dead pool, that possibility still looms. The resultant effect of the lake reaching a dead pool would have a devastating impact on the inhabitants of California, Arizona, Nevada, and sections of Mexico. Simultaneously, water managers in the southwestern states, led by the Bureau of Reclamation, are working to regulate inflows into the Colorado River. They're also seeking to enforce water allocation parity among the states in the region. These actions are intended to help restore Lake Mead's water supply as well as Lake Powell, another reservoir in even worse shape. Even if Lake Mead never reached a dead pool, there's still the danger that water levels could drop so low as to impede the generation of hydroelectric power. According to Robert Glennon, an emeritus professor at the University of Arizona, as the water level drops in our western reservoirs, electricity generation becomes problematic. When a reservoir runs dry, less water flows through the turbines, resulting in less liquid pressure to spin the turbines and less electricity production. According to data collected by the Bureau of Reclamation, Lake Mead's water levels have dropped dramatically in recent years. By the end of June 2020, the water level stood at around 1,087 feet. However, just a year ago, its elevation was 1,069 feet above sea level. While the receding water in the lake is quite worrying, the discoveries being made are quite interesting. As the lake dries up, it unearths what it has buried, and some date back to the World War II era. The dwindling water level of Lake Mead in late April revealed an inlet pipe that has been supplying Nevadans with water since 1971. According to the Las Vegas Police Department, the dead, rotting body of a man was discovered in a steel barrel somewhere at the reservoir's Hemingway fishing pier. After a thorough examination, Lieutenant Ray Spencer confirmed that evidence of the gunshot wound suggests the body was murdered. According to Spencer, the body is currently being examined for identification by the Clark County Medical Examiner. He said that based on the victim's attire and footwear, investigators have determined his death occurred between the years 1975 and 1980. Jeff Schumacher, an expert on mafia history in Las Vegas, believes the found body was a victim of mob violence. Jeff is also the vice chairman of exhibits and programs at the Mob Museum in Las Vegas. According to him, the practice of dumping victims in barrels is a time-honored mob strategy dating back to the 18th century. Though he's quite familiar with such instances, he claims it's probably the first case to have been discovered in Lake Mead. Given that mob violence was once prevalent in Las Vegas, he believes there are more shocking discoveries to be made as the lake recedes. The second set of human remains was discovered only a week after the first. It was found by park officials at the lake close to Calville Bay. It was taken to the medical examiner for identification and cause of death. The Las Vegas PD came out with a report that there wasn't enough reason to believe the person was murdered. 2 sisters named Lindsay and Lynette Melvin are credited by authorities with making the discovery while paddleboarding on the lake. Like many others who have perished in the lake over the years, authorities believe the remains to be those of a drowning victim. However, exposed pipelines and skeletal remains aren't the only objects to be discovered in the muck. Aside from the scores of submerged boats and enormous amounts of rubbish, there have been several firearms, detonated munitions, historical ornaments, and more. Perhaps the most exciting object thus far is the B-29 Superfortress bomber, which is resting at the bottom of Lake Mead. When it was first released, the B-29 Superfortress bomber represented the bleeding edge of aviation technology. It crashed into Lake Mead because of a navigational error while conducting atmospheric testing. All 5 members of the crew were out of harm's way before the plane crashed and plummeted into the lake. It wasn't until 2002 that local divers discovered the B-29's wreckage. Archaeologists from the National Park Service finally mapped and documented the site of the crash in 2003. Another interesting discovery was the appearance of a somewhat ghost town. In the 1930s, when the Hoover Dam and Lake Mead were being built, a small Nevada community called St. Thomas was deliberately flooded. When it was built in 1865, St. Thomas was a successful Mormon town with farms, a school, a hotel, a grocery store, and more. The town of St. Thomas was flooded due to the damming of the Colorado River, which resulted in Lake Mead. Lake Mead's rising levels drowned St. Thomas entirely. Calville, along with the neighboring Anasazi Indian sites, was another community inundated by Lake Mead. The National Park Service claims it has repeatedly emerged and vanished throughout the years in response to fluctuating water levels on Lake Mead. Visitors who want to explore the ruins of the ghost town can do so. You'll encounter cracked ground and the foundations of old structures, like the St. Thomas Schoolhouse. Apparently, all historic objects from the site are under federal protection. The Lost City Museum, located in Overton, houses even more items discovered in the region. Despite the dwindling lake being a cause for worry, it's captured the disturbing attention of both tourists and longtime inhabitants. Many people believe wherever there are bodies, there will be treasures. As more buried things are discovered, it's impossible to predict what might be discovered next. A full-scale treasure hunt has been mitigated by the fact that Lake Mead is located on public land within a national recreation area. Though the use of metal detectors or big magnets to search for sunken objects is prohibited, law enforcement officers occasionally find people breaking that rule. The persistent drought in the Southwest during the past 23 years is one of the responsible factors for the depletion of Lake Mead. The drying out has been made worse by both human consumption and activities like the combustion of fossil fuels. It's projected the current climate conditions, like a warmer and drier atmosphere, will persist in the southwestern states. There's also an increasing population, which requires more water consumption. Earlier this year, water was sent upstream from Lake Mead to preserve hydropower generation at Lake Powell. Hoover Dam's power output has decreased by about 13% due to the falling water level. Ideally, the greater the water in Lake Mead, the more pressure is produced, leading to more power generation. Whether or not Lake Mead and Lake Powell can continue to supply hydropower in the future is becoming an increasing concern for federal officials. The future of Lake Mead was discussed at a Senate hearing last month, where Bureau of Reclamation Commissioner Camille Touton spoke. She argued that next year's water allocation from Lakes Mead and Powell needs to be drastically cut. But about 7 million acre-feet of Colorado River water was consumed by California, Arizona, and Nevada last year. Next year, these states will have a maximum of about 4 million acre-feet of water at their disposal. It would definitely have an impact on the availability of water for agriculture in states like California and Arizona, which produce 25% of the nation's foodstuff. The economies of the Southwest, which rely heavily on water usage, would also be negatively impacted. The lake was once the setting for happy recollections, but nowadays it seems more like a scenario from an environmental train wreck. Some people assume the lake is hiding treasures, others say it might not be safe to go there anymore. Visitors are advised to exercise extreme caution near the lake shorelines because of the increased likelihood of encountering hazards there. Because of the rate at which the water has receded, what appears to be dry land is frequently merely a thin layer of sun-baked clay concealing a swamp. Now it's time to hear from you. What was the most surprising part of this story? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Viewcation if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.